Hello? I'm here. Hello? 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 Your message was kind of vague. I'm not sure exactly what you wanted me to see. Listen, if you're not gonna show yourself, I'm getting the hell out of here. What the hell? Oh my god, it's a body. It's got some kind of talisman around its neck. If it wasn't for the broken skylight, I would have not seen this. Huh? I wonder if this guy was strangled by it. Odd that it would be resting on its back. This guy must have been here for at least a few decades. He's covered in dust. Ah! Ugh, shit. Gross. Huh? Well, what do we have here? Looks like some kind of journal. Volume 78, Acolyte 447.
There are reports of bodies being taken from the morgue last night in downtown Morston.
Some believe this is a sign of terrible events to come.
Police refuse to give a statement on any leads.
What are you going to do to me? Please, just let me go.
I don't know who did this to me.
447, September 6th, 1996. It's a good thing I brought a fresh book. I think I'm going to be here for a long while. All these damn stakeouts have become the norm these days. Keeping tabs on the unnumbered ones for Doc has become more cumbersome with each outing. Vinny has eluded me now for weeks. This abandoned place is his last known location, so saith 191. These ungratefuls in this Sirenicide break all the rules. Though unscarred, unmarked, and unscathed, you would think they would be the perfect devotees. But alas, the first generation having their individuality left intact might be the reason for their betrayal. I often wonder, what if I would have been like the first picked? What if I would have had the anomaly gift, like so many of the first few? Like Johnny.
Holy shit, this is gold. Wow. Now let's get a better look at this guy. Ugh. Fuck. His face. What did they do to you? No wonder he was writing so much. His mouth is sutured shut. But this isn't like what Eddie did to Blackjack. It's not as crude. Almost as if 447 here was willing to have this done. He is right though. There are no individual markings. They shaved his head and carved his eyes out into these deep bone-formed X's, where the flesh grew into the cavities down to where the brain tissue probably was. They shaved his nose off. Skin looks boiled. This thing's monstrous. Who the fuck did this? Who is Doc?
447, September 9th, 1996. 2 days I've been sitting here. For 2 whole days. I miss the times when my body longed for sustenance. I miss feeling hunger, thirst, and the want for sleep. I miss feeling dirty, smelly. I miss the old way of sight. And I miss feelings. 447, September 20th, 1996. 2 weeks now, and all I've seen is rats. I have written this before, but in times like these, I really wonder, why am I here? Who was I? And what is to become of me? Doc is wise, and he has such a grand vision, but it feels so far away. I feel like I'm cleaning up his mistakes. I look so much like the others that came before me, and the hundreds more that came after me. Just a number now. That's it. 447. That's me. The individuals, the lucky ones. They are either at his side, right next to Doc as he creates us, or they have fled. I've had the pleasure of snuffing out a few of these lost ones, but my work is far from done. Vinny Syringe, you are next. 447, September 22nd, 1996. Finally, he was here. I saw him. He didn't see me. He pulled up in an old, beat-up Chevrolet truck with 3 black body bags in the bed. They were the corpses of children.
We're gonna have some fun tonight.
I watched him perform his failed surgeries on them. Once they were of no more use to him, well, he cut them into pieces and fed them to his 3 white German shepherds. I can't believe he still has those dogs. I can't believe they are still alive. Then again, I can see their incisions on their rib cages, even through their albino fur. What a weak person, a fragile shell of a soul, to prey on children. This must be a reflection of what his new master represents. However, it is very odd that none of the other members of Sirenicide have been here to join in. I must continue watching him to see if he truly is alone. If so, this shall be an easy task. 447, September 30th, 1996. Tonight was excruciating. The girl couldn't have been a day over 10. She was alive. Was. He dropped the tailgate and chained her down to the bed of the truck.
Shut up. No one's gonna hear you.
She screamed for her mother and cried for her father as he sliced her chest open and moved her organs around.
Daddy! They're not gonna come for you now. They will never find you here.
After stitching her back up, he unchained her. It took a few hours, but the life returned to her eyes, if you could call it life. She walked a few yards from the truck. I guess she was trying to grasp her new existence. She collapsed, and Vinny became infuriated. He didn't help her. I didn't even try to help her. I should have. He walked over to the sobbing young corpse-to-be and kicked dust in her face. Then he unleashed his dogs on her. They tore her apart, turning their white fur a crimson red. It took only 10 minutes before the screaming stopped, and all I could hear was the wet, chomping noises and the hunger-satisfying sound of cracking bones. I'm pretty sure if I had tear ducts, they would have been perspiring. I think I had a daughter once. I can't remember anymore. 447, October 2nd, 1996. That girl's screams broke through a web of buried consciousness within my mind. In the days he has been gone, it has been plaguing me. I remember my farm, my wife, and my beautiful daughter. It has all come flooding back to me.
I was a rice farmer in Dayway, Texas. In the late 1800s, I did pretty well for myself. The Morston area was the epicenter of rice agriculture at the time. I had a very large plantation. Money was good. I wasn't rich by any means, but there were a lot worse off. We were happy, simple, church-going folk of the time.
The bad year was 1906. I lost everything. My wife got sick, passed away from tuberculosis. That winter, my daughter started coming down with the same illness. The thought of losing her was unbearable. I found out about this derelict church on the far south side of town by another rice farmer, Henry Jenkins of Frosby. He said there was a miracle maker there, a Dr. Sammy. So I went. He cut my baby open. Elizabeth was only 11 at the time. They did heal her, but she was never the same. She suffered then from the symptoms that I have now, but she was broken. There was no clarity to her mind. She murdered a few of the hands we had on the farm. Before long, rumors started to swirl, and I couldn't cover up the missing anymore. So I sold everything and went back to that church. And that's where I met him, Johnny. Of course, at that time, he was still golden, the right-hand man of Doc himself. He said,
"She was too young, and Dr. Sammy should have not have done this to her. Her mind can't handle the fire that is now within her soul."
He then continued to say that she would never age properly, and eventually would be consumed by mental chaos. He offered to put an end to it. I accepted. I worked at the church the next few months before succumbing to a total mental breakdown. By that time, Johnny had offered me a way out of my misery. And here I am. 447, October 5th, 1996. He has a pattern, and that will be his demise. He shows up here every 3 days at the same time. Tomorrow night, I will make my move. Now I must meditate with the talisman. That will let Doc know I'm ready. 447, October 6th, 1996. He did show up tonight, but I didn't make my move. I never received a pulse back from the talisman. Plus, he came back empty-handed. No corpses, no stolen children, and no dogs.
bastard!
He was covered in blood and crying, screaming about someone named Eddie and how he murdered his babies. The way he was raving and ranting, and the fact that he showed up an hour later than normal tells me that his normal rituals might have been interrupted. I'm starting to think I might not be the only one hunting Vinnie Syringe. 447, October 9th, 1996. Mr. Syringe has become unstable the last few hours. He showed up with the girl in her early 20s. He actually performed his surgery quite well this time. Then, for no reason at all, he slit her throat. A perfectly resurrected, anathema-safe girl. And he just ended her. In his ravings, he's been cussing about Johnny, this Eddie, and Sirenicide. He doesn't know where to go now. He says that over and over as he punches himself in the head and stabs the now lifeless corpse. He fled from Doc, and Johnny has abandoned him. All that talent wasted. I sit here now just waiting for a pulse from my talisman to tell me to commence. Very odd that I haven't received one already. 447, October 14th, 1996. 5 days. 5 fucking days and no response. Vinny has just been pacing back and forth, destroying all his tools, putting dents in the side of his truck, and slicing himself open until he passes out. Then he wakes up, healed, and does it all over again. I could have made my move 20 or 30 times by now. I have to assume something is wrong with the talisman. It went black 2 days ago. I will make my move tonight.
No more entries. Well now, this whole thing just got a lot bigger. This has been going on for 100 years, hell, maybe even more than that. Now, let me see if I can find out what caused your death, Mr. 447. Ugh. Oh, not a very pleasant smell. I can't believe how intact this flesh is, though. I don't see any wounds other than this dried up scar. It's almost like...
The life force was sucked right out of him.
Whoa, shit! You scared the crap out of me.
I did not intend to scare you, but who could help such a thing in a place like this? I'm the one who wanted to arrange this little meeting with you. I figured I'd let you find our numbered friend here before we talked.
Who are you? Or should I say, what are you?
My name is Lucius. And what I am? Well, that's not important right now. What is important, dear sir, is your work.
Okay, well, I can tell you really like red.
Let's just say it's part of my allegiance. But you don't have to fret from me. I'm just here to help. Help you out with some information.
Okay. What do you have for me, Lucius?
Matthew, you have only scratched the surface of the darkness that this city is woven into. I brought you here to this place to give you some clarity on the factions you're dealing with. Mainly for you to see that it's not just your pal, Eddie.
Yeah, I see that now. Looks like there was some sort of divide within surgical psychos.
Yes, there was. As you read, Johnny Stitches was a very promising pupil for the master of the Undead Surgeons Guild, or Doc as most call him. Some sort of rift transpired and they split. The man at your feet is just one of thousands that the USG has manufactured. Of course, people would never notice. You ever had that feeling you're being watched? Or ever wondered whom that dark figure in the alley is? Well, for the last few hundred years, it's probably one of these guys right here. Matthew, you have been given the gift. Now I know it might not feel like that, but you have to stop to realize that you don't get sick anymore now, do you?
Yes, I have noticed that. It's also a side effect of some of the others I've met.
Well, don't be so down about it. You've been pulled out of the sheep herd, my friend.
Pulled out of the herd? Are you serious, Devilman? I was just threatened within an inch of my life by this Eddie psycho, and he's killed one of my friends just for telling his story. So you have to excuse me if I don't seem grateful.
I can respect that point of view. The fact is, that is one of the reasons we're meeting here next to Mr. 447. You see, he was murdered as well for telling a story. The difference between him and your friend Blackjack 9 is that no one has followed up with a beautiful web-based memorial, as well as retelling his story so it will live forever.
Yeah, well, I read his story, and it is a sad one. I'll make sure that Vincent and I memorialize him appropriately.
Now don't walk away yet. You can't tell this man's story unless you know how it ended. Now can you?
You're telling me you know how it ended? Were you here? Could you have stopped it?
No, I couldn't have stopped it. And no, I wasn't here. But yes, I do know how it ended.
All right, Lucius. Enlighten me.
You see, Matthew, I'm part of a very elite covert organization that is thousands of years old. A tale for another day. In my line of work, you come across some of the sickest individuals this planet has ever had to offer. Vinny Syringe is one of those individuals. Between 1989 and 1996, a rash of young girls had gone missing from hospitals all around the city. Hospitals, mind you. He would come and snatch girls out of cancer wards, young girls out of burn centers, and his favorite, cardiac rehabilitation facilities. In total, he probably killed 250 girls, not including the corpses he would also snatch. Corpses. It was something that Doc with the USG and Johnny with Sirenicide could no longer ignore. He had to be taken care of. Now, these two factions didn't necessarily team up to dispose of Mr. Syringe, but they were inadvertently pursuing him at the same time, which culminated in the events of 447's last words.
Wait, you're gonna have to excuse me. I just literally found out by reading the journal that there is more than one faction. Hell, that there even is a faction, let alone more than one. What is Sirenicide?
Okay, I can tell you. Sirenicide, that is the brainchild of Johnny Stitches. The group started off as just a small band of miscreants causing intentional traffic fatalities with emergency vehicles, hence their name. Over time, Johnny has matured his force and made sure that it is doubled in numbers. Sirenicide is fierce because unlike the USG, they are actively releasing their projects back into the city. Projects like you.
Projects. Yeah.
Oh, come on. You're not like him. You're not a mindless, mutilated, militant murderer. Give yourself some credit, Matthew. You're trying to do what hundreds before you have hidden from.
We'll see how far that gets me. Go ahead. Continue your tale.
The tragic events that befell our friend here had nothing to do with Vinny Syringe. No. His longing to document everything he did, to tell his story, if you will, that's what did him in. I'm sure there are 77 other volumes that set up his sentence. We only got to read the short-lived 78th. Doc tries to take away their individuality. 447 still, in a way, where he maintained his. Maybe not in looks, that's for sure, but definitely in his script. The way I hear it from mutual friends of ours, this giant of a man climbed down from the rafters to confront Vinny. But before he could attack, he was snuffed out. Just shut down, if you will.
What do you mean shut down? And who is this mutual friend? If you just came here to give me a few answers, that's nice, but you're really creating a whole lot more questions.
Eddie Val.
What? Is this a setup?
That's why I did not want to say his name. I knew you'd get all riled up after the stuff I've read. No, this is no setup. Matthew, I do have regular communications with a lot of different people, yourself now included. I just want to make sure this man gets his so-called justice by you getting his words out. That is all I'm here to do. That is why I wanted to meet with you.
Okay, I can do that. Sorry. Continue.
Thank you. Yes, in the heat of battle, he was deactivated. I think the talisman was a source of life, and they, well, pulled the plug. Eddie said he was climbing down through the skylight around the same time 447 jumped down from the rafters. According to him, the juggernaut fell right where we see him now, face forward. I'm guessing the same way through the connection to Doc. One of his final entries in the book revealed too much, almost as if Doc could hear the words as he was writing them down.
I wonder why they wouldn't have returned to cover it up.
Well, my friend, because of Eddie. After dispatching with Mr. Syringe, Eddie dropped off his head at a then-known location of the USG. He said it included a note that he was keeping the body of 447 and giving it to Johnny. However odd it was, they believed him.
Strange. You would think he would have taken the body back.
I don't know if it had something to do with prior connections. Or maybe they just didn't care that much. But they never came back for 447.
I'm gonna hold on to these. Can't stuff this guy in my pocket. Better catch a few pictures of him.
Be careful with those things. They may be a direct link to someone you don't want nothing to do with. He who ferries in, the anathema.
Yeah, what is that all about? Okay, it's definitely time to get out of here.
Sirenicide are copyright 2016 Atrium Dynamics. Please visit Sirenicide.com for more details.